Camper in the right place at the right time.
Joe Rose, touchdown Miami!
All right, welcome back to Out to Pasture. We're here at Miami Dolphins training facility. Kim Camper, Joe Rose, and Alain Poupart. Alan, you started out with the Dolphin Digest how many years ago was that?
Actually, I started with the Miami News.
Miami News.
Before that, I'm going to date myself here. In 1983, first Dolphins game I covered was November 10th, 1985. I'm a sicko. I remember dates like that.
Yeah.
Against the Jets at the Orange Bowl. Mark Duper back after missing, I think, 2 months with a hand injury.
Yeah.
Dolphins win 21-17. My assignment that day, this was a day when newspapers covered both locker rooms. I had the Jets locker room was my assignment that day. Needless to say, not a happy place. Dolphin Digest 1989, and I have covered every single solitary game.
And now you're doing the All Dolphin podcast. You're doing Miami Dolphins on SI.
Yep.
And you're in the podcast world. So we're happy to have you on our podcast.
Well, thanks for having me, fellas.
So let's get the stuff out of the way. This team, you're looking at what this team is, and what do you think about what they're seeing, what they're building here right now? Might as well talk about it since we're here at training camp. Then we'll get down to the nostalgia, which is the best part of it.
Yeah, it's an appropriate place to talk about it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel different ways because the last couple of days of practice, as we're taping this, the defense is blowing away the offense. And I mean, it's not close. And we know what the offense can do if things go right, if Tyreek and Waddle are getting involved in all that, and then you have other options. So the possibilities are there. I think the defense is a big question. Obviously, it's in the secondary at cornerback. I don't know. I think like a ceiling could be like 10 wins.
Yeah.
Floor, I think we've seen if Tua plays a good number of games, the floor can be lower than 7. So anywhere between 7 and 10 wins, maybe.
There's been 2 topics that I know drives the team nuts, but we talk about it, and we should, and that's the inexperience at the cornerback position and the moves they've made to bring in a couple veterans here during camp. And then on top of that, depth on the offensive line.
Yep.
Austin Jackson's been out a couple weeks, going to be out a couple more weeks. Got to find some tackles. How do you feel
Queasy.
about finding that?
Queasy. See, and I've covered the Dolphins for a while. I remember Queasy. That was circa 2013, maybe. No, and then you mentioned Austin Jackson, and then because they don't have enough injuries on the offensive line. Now Andrew Meyer, who was looking pretty good as a second-year rookie free agent, now he's out for quote-unquote weeks. And the backup spot is just not great. If something happens to one of the starters, but we know that never happens to the Dolphins.
Hey,
right?
let's talk about Mike a little bit, Mike McDaniel, and Joe and I were talking earlier that you can kind of see a difference in this team. I think they're hitting a little more. There've been pads, and I think you're starting to see a team getting a little more physical. You think that's more player driven? You think that's Mike driven? Because we talk about the last couple of drafts that they had, at least their first and second draft. Those guys, and they're big physical guys that have come in, and guys that can make play. Do you think this young group, if they get another draft like this, can be a nucleus of a team that can do something in the future?
Yeah, if the guys pan out, and you hope Kenneth Grant is going to be a solution at defensive tackle, Jonas Avainaya, and then last year Patrick Paul, who's looked fabulous in training camp so far, but it's training camp. And Chop looks the part as well. And that's what the Dolphins need. I mean, to build a sustainable contending team, you need to hit on your draft picks. You can't have guys like, Cam Smith, who's not looking, he's panning out. You need to hit. And it's too early to say Grant and Avainaya are going to hit, but I think there's reason for optimism, and it looks really good right now with Chop and Patrick Paul.
I listened to Anthony Weaver here a couple days ago, and he sold me, man. He's like, hey, we got our guys. I feel good about it. He's super positive. I think with our front 7, it's really going to help them. They're all in on this group, and he mentioned 4 or 5 names, including Ethan Bonner in there, that he felt pretty good about. How do you feel about it?
Yeah, well, I'm going to preface it by saying, with all due respect to Anthony Weaver, who I like a lot, it's kind of what they're going to say this time of year. Am I right?
Yes, there's not going to be anything.
Yeah, they're going to say, man, we're concerned about our cornerback spot. Holy moly.
That gets back to Mike. Anything gets a little negative around here, going to be some trouble.
Pretty much. Vic Fangio's gone. Because Vic Fangio would be like, I don't feel real good about this group. I mean, they were like, so those days are gone. What I'm seeing at practice is I'm not seeing guys getting toasted all the time, though. I mean, I don't want to like be all sunshine and roses. That's not. I've been called a hater in certain parts, so that's not my style. Yeah, shocker, right?
There you go.
But I haven't seen guy getting roasted. Storm Duck has impressed the hell out of me.
How about that?
I mean, holy
He's
moly!
the number one guy.
Not only that, I mean, I
He's
got.
physical. The other day when he's out there, his body is like been.
Did you see the?
I'll tell you
I
what,
mean, holy
yeah.
moly! I got mocked by some other media members because I asked him like, "Dude, you look a lot bigger on top than you did last year," and all of a sudden it's like, "Why are you so fascinated by his body?" Because it looks totally different.
He does. He looks a lot more physical.
Kendall Sheffield, what I've seen from Kendall Sheffield, he's a veteran. He does have experience in the NFL. He got burned at practice deep, like not once, not twice, like 3 times one day this week. And I think maybe the long range speed is an issue there, but he's going to be on his assignment. Jack Jones is a wild card because I think the ceiling's really, really high. But he's a guy who's going to go for plays, and if he gets burned, it can be ugly. But I don't think the cornerback position is a disaster area that a lot of people think it is. I think, to me, the depth on the offensive line is a much bigger issue.
I think we all feel better about watching these guys play with potential.
I'm more optimistic now than I was a month ago. Let's put it that way, right?
Yeah, because we're seeing what's happening at training camp, and the Dolphin offense is not torching the Dolphins.
So Joe and I, we're out the pasture. We're the old, crotchety guys, and we're all. You can't help but look at these practices and look at the training camp practices when you first came in.
You saw those double days.
You saw the 2 days, yeah. Then the gassers. Yeah, and you guys are probably looking at that going like, it's a different deal, isn't it? And then you have coaches who have to be very, very delicate in how they talk to players because you don't talk to players in 2025. I'm sure some of the things Shula told you guys.
You heard them. From where you were, you could hear.
I heard Marino at times, and I heard Shula at times, yeah. And also what should be pointed out is back in the day, the reporters were allowed on the field.
Yeah.
Now we're in the stands, and unless Mike is really screaming, we can't hear what's being said. We can see if he's agitated or not, but we can't hear it.
You know what? So one thing about that, I mean, I remember doing one-on-one drills, and the reporters would be standing right there, and certainly there were expletives and everything, but they never went that way. They reported what they were seeing, but they never the coach is doing this. Oh, this guy's grinding this guy down or whatever. It was I think
that's a good point.
It was a different caliber of look. The media was completely different then.
Yep.
Now it's to try to catch you, count media.
Well, everybody's a columnist.
But
Everybody's
that
got
was
an
just
opinion in their article.
No opinions there. It was just facts. This is what I see, and this is what seems to be going on. But boy, there was a lot of things that you saw that.
No, absolutely.
Would have been good stuff.
Yeah, and nowadays it'd be like if Mike just gives a guy a wrong look, chances are somebody's going to point it out in a column or in a practice report, because those practice reports, which is something new, which fans love nowadays. Yeah. Back in the day, all due respect, we'd talk to you guys after practice and write feature stories. It wasn't like a whole practice rundown. Yeah.
I want to ask you about the quarterback, not starting quarterback, but we have to, considering what's happened here in the past. The injury bug for Tua. How do you feel about number 2 and number 3? Quinn, I got to tell you, and Fair and Bo and I disagree on this. Quinn Ewers look really good. Every time I come out here, you've seen every practice.
What do you mean? I was on Quinn Ewers.
No, I said you were on him. I said Quinn Ewers looked really good.
So is Zach.
Yeah. And Zach Wilson has had his up and downs, but there's no question in my mind Zach Wilson is going to be the backup quarterback when the season starts.
There is no question. And I think Zach has looked just as good as Quinn Ewers, if not better. Yeah, okay. And maybe there's this thing. Well, here's the thing: is there's more of the unknown with Quinn Ewers. He comes in as a rookie 7th round pick. The big question, of course, why did he last until the 7th round? We know he's a very good fit for this offense, but what's his ceiling? And he comes in, and to me, at times when he operates the offense, it looks a little bit like Tua, with the same skill set and the same limitations. And then Zach Wilson, who has been eons better than I thought he was going to be based on what I saw with the Jets. He's kind of operated the offense pretty well, too. He's made a couple of throws on the move. Oh, yeah. I mean, and he's also good. When he needs to zip it, he can zip it.
So I would counter with this. Why has he been on 3 different teams? He was the second pick coming out of BYU. Second pick.
You can't blame that Jets thing.
So what makes you believe he's going to light up here? Now, the one thing I do know that would certainly make him the first option is he's got experience. The experience is not really great, but he's got experience.
Correct.
And he knows what the pace of the game, and he knows what the speed is of the game. And to me, that's what's going to put him the number one. But I think, look, I think they're both better than, I think we're better off last year than we were last year with our two backup quarterbacks going into the season.
I mean, it's like this.
Yeah.
What would give me hope, and why did Wilson flame out of his two spots? Well, he flamed out with the Jets. I think Joe was kind of hitting on it.
Yeah.
The coaching was not exactly ideal, and the bad situation, and the offensive line, because this comes up very often as a defense whenever Tua doesn't produce big numbers. Well, the offensive line suck. Well, if we're going to use that for Tua, let's use it for Zach Wilson, who played behind a garbage offense out of the Jets. And then with what I was told with Denver is basically they put out the same offer to Jarrett Stidham or Zach Wilson. Stidham took it. I don't know if Wilson wanted to go back there and compete. To me, I think Zach Wilson's got so much of a higher ceiling, than Stidham. And I think with good coaching, I think you can coach some bad habits out of it.
Not to offend either one of those guys, but hopefully we don't see them this year, right?
Best chance to win is lefty playing 17.
Yeah, that's
so
kind of
let's go back. So over the course of your experience, starting from Miami, were you there with Larry Dorman in Miami News? He was a Miami News guy, wasn't he?
He preceded me.
Yeah. So what things stick in your mind over the course of your history of covering this team?
Oh, Jesus.
Good, bad?
Man, you're like, that's a tough question. That's that open-ended question. You're going to, well, the first game I ever covered obviously sticks out as a memory.
That's a pretty good one, that Jets game. That was wild.
The first game I covered for Dolphin Digest was the 1989 season opener against the Buffalo Bills. That was a time when reporters were allowed on the field in the last 6 minutes. I was on the field, and last play of the game, you're up 24-20. Jim Kelly scores on a quarterback draw. I think it was.
That was down
here. Quarterback
draw.
Yeah, it was here.
Yep.
And the place was just like, I mean, it was like bad.
So you were at the AFC Championship game when I think Thurman Thomas just caught another screen pass.
and Kenneth Davis too. And Kenneth Davis.
Jay Reed ran across
my gosh.
Same deal. It was all that stuff.
Yeah, and sadly, that's the last time the Dolphins win the AFC Championship game with home field advantage. But they got outplayed bad.
It's so funny to go back to old school because Bo is the worst at it. He can't let the old school stuff go.
No.
He really gets going on the practice and everything else.
I've toned it down a little bit.
You have a little bit.
I tempered it.
I had to call your ass out a few times to get you to do it.
There you go.
What's the biggest change you've seen in the game overall? Where we are today, by the way, super popular game. I never thought when we played in the 70s and 80s it would be like this.
From a media perspective, and I don't know if people care about the media perspective and all that, how everything is like a national secret. It's like, my Lord, I mean, you dealing with everything, line up things. I mean, there are certain teams around the league, I won't name any teams, who will ask their reporters, do not say which player, which worked for which unit, the injuries, and it's like, it's not, again, it's a sport. I get it, competitive advantage and all that good stuff. I get it, but it's
a little overboard.
How about the spy thing in college
it's like they're guarding Fort Knox, right?
Yeah.
It's a football game.
Yep.
And there's enough video. Everyone can watch. You can break down a game after the game's over as a fan and see all the tape that you see here. So it's out there. It's all out there, but it's. And
the worst thing that ever happened for the media maybe is that Jimmy Johnson's story of how we spotted a play the Bills were going to run in the Super Bowl. It was a shovel pass to Thurman Thomas in the Super Bowl because of what they had seen. They practiced it and then they blew it up.
Yeah.
And if he'd never told that story, Jimmy Johnson, who I really liked as a head coach and all that, if he'd never said that story, maybe things would be different. Maybe.
Yeah. But there is people are real paranoid. I see in college football too. They're checking around to see if anybody's on top there before, because like they're going to take it back with them.
So but that was different even back then, depending on the team. Because I remember covering the Orange Bowl at the end of the 1985 season for the Miami News, and I was assigned to Oklahoma. Marty Klinkenberg, good buddy, you guys probably ran into, was assigned to cover Penn State, and he was telling me for them the limitations they had on the media was crazy. Meanwhile, for Penn State, for covering Penn State. Meanwhile, we're covering Oklahoma, and Barry Switzer is walking over to us, shooting the breeze while practice is going on. I mean, it's like, and Oklahoma wound up kicking their ass.
Right. I got a really good team. I'm not worried. Hey, what are you guys up to? What do you recommend for dinner tonight? Exactly.
Pretty much.
Different deal for sure.
Yep.
Hey, as we've talked so much, is there going to be a lot of tough decisions? I know everybody likes to put on this team.
The back end, like safety, wide receiver. O-line's going to be a tough decision because they don't have enough guys who can play. Oops, sorry. Did I say that out loud? I think those are the two main ones. Edge rusher.
You wouldn't be surprised if final cuts, they go outside 2, 3, 4 guys in potentially in the 53-man roster.
No, I could see that.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah,
but not bigger. But not bigger names because of vested veterans. You have to guarantee their contract if they're on the roster week 1. So for those guys, you're going to wait.
Well, the guys that they've been looking at that they might have had an interest in during camp or even in the draft, and they're out there and maybe they think it's better. So yeah, especially certainly in the secondary in the backup offensive line, they're going to have to find. There's going to be at least 2 or 3 guys in those 2 spots that aren't here right now.
That's why the next 2 weeks coming up on the road are going to be really important for the guys we've been talking about. This is going to be a chance for them to go, all right, you got 2 weeks in, you know the system, go out and show us you can play against some fresh guys.
Without question. Your edge, because right now we were talking, like today Derek McClendon spoke and Grayson Murphy spoke to the media. And there are 2 guys, if you're counting like Jalen Phillips, Shop Robinson, Bradley Chubb, you're on your team. More than likely Quentin Bell. Well, that leaves Grayson Murphy, Derek McClendon, who's looked good, Cameron Good, Mohamed Kamara.
Can't keep them all.
Correct. Can't keep them all.
So let's talk about as you came in, it was typewriters and this and that, and now it's podcasts. It's these instant hits and all this stuff and I remember coming in and it was the grizzled veteran, the Ed Popes and those guys, and they were one step away from having the ticket in their hat, they're all smoking cigars and they're drinking like a fish at night,
that's funny.
right? Doing all that kind of shit, and now it's now you've got now it's people with not a lot of experience getting in and getting on camera, getting behind look, we're doing it. Us 2 idiots are doing a podcast, and we can do it. Anybody can do it. But it's as you went through, if you kind of look at the layers like the magma and stuff in the earth of where the things stacked up, it would be a hell of a story, man.
You know what's amazing? I just recently heard, being around you and Omar and other people, the writers sometimes and the podcasters aren't necessarily, because there's a lot of Dolphin fan podcasters out there that are doing stuff. And I hear the back and forth sometimes going, well, you're getting your information from us. Well, I'm getting it out to my fan base and they like us. And you've been on both sides of this.
No. Well, I've been on the attacked side a couple of times, particularly. Shocking. I know. You would think everybody loves me, but no.
Gosh darn it.
Particularly because I don't unconditionally throw flowers to QB1.
Yeah.
And that offends a lot of two-and-ears, for lack of a better term. And it's like, he's a good quarterback, but let's not pretend he's going to Hall of Fame the second his career is over. I mean, it's like, and there are times when, like, I made the point, like, early on, but when we talk about Mike McDaniel as a head coach, to me, I don't think we should shortchange, like, the genius of his offensive scheme and how it opens up and how he's maximized the speed of Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. And can we be honest and then admit that if you have a quarterback with some accuracy and some touch, it kind of helps having those guys and it facilitates putting up big numbers. Well, no, you're taking it away from it. And then, of course, the one big failing of Mike is he reps it, 7,000 times with Tua. The backups get very few reps, if any, with those guys. And they don't necessarily have the same skill set. They don't have the timing and all that. And go ahead and go us and win us. I mean, it's like last year was. I mean, I'm sorry, there should not be that kind of a golfing performance between you.
Well, I mean, I was standing on the sidelines in Seattle, and I tell you what, I mean, first snap, I go, it's a deer in the headlight, man.
What?
It is a deer in the headlight.
Please explain that to me, though. This is a guy who had been in the system for 3 years.
That's right. He was ready for the system, and Mike had groomed him for it. And I was like everyone else. Oh, he's been in this. He'll do it. And I could tell you within 2 snaps.
Yep.
I go, this is a disaster. I mean, I could see his. I'm standing. I could see his eyes. And
even the play he got hit, he was getting hit, and you're like, how do you not see people? Like, how much time do you think you have to throw the ball?
Yeah. So.
And my thought last offseason is, even though Skyler was a little bit and I wouldn't say even better, I would say less egregious, less bad than Mike White.
Yeah.
To me, I would have felt a lot more comfortable with Mike White, who had a bigger body of work in the regular season.
Yeah. Well,
But that's
Well, listen, you're right. I think this whole thing starts, and everybody wants to know, what do you think? I go, it starts with Tua Tagovailoa needs to play 17 games, and we'll go from there. We'll see what happens late and all the other things everybody talks about out there, playing in cold weather, late in the year against good teams. We don't play well against playoff. He needs to stay healthy so we can find out.
So what's your? I know you're an NFL guy, but what is your opinion on? Well, so there's a couple things. So you
hate
got,
him. I'm sorry.
No. So you got. So like now you got ESPN's just picking up stuff from the NFL. They're going to be doing the red zone. Everyone's this whole energy within covering. And look, I can say basketball, baseball, but it's all about the NFL. Right.
Yeah.
I mean, from a broadcast standpoint, that's the behemoth.
Yeah.
Right. And so, but those parts keep moving around. You don't know if you go to Apple TV to watch a game. You got to go to Netflix to see a game, whatever. All of that stuff. And then with there's 5 million podcasts out there.
Yep.
5 million podcasts that they're all looking for, trying to get a place in there, much like we're doing. And then you've just got ancillary stuff going. I don't know how you got to be a lot more technically sound than Joe and I when it comes to this stuff. I can barely type an email. You know what I mean?
Oh, I'm right with you.
But so how have you been able to maneuver your way through the typewriter to really
Try to figure out and make a living
where we
doing
are
this.
right now? Yeah,
exactly.
I mean it's.
Well, the bread and butter is still the website, but I want to know part that there were podcasts that were exploding like in 2023 is when I started. I didn't want to do one because I didn't want to be looking into the camera and talking like I know some people do it solo.
Yeah.
To me, it was going to be okay if I'm able to hire on a staff writer on my staff, then I'll do it with him. And then I had Omar join the staff for a bit. So just okay, let's start a podcast with him, and it did very, very well. We had a good shtick going, him and I, because he's wrong all the time, and I correct him. So it worked.
He's out there sometimes for sure.
You don't dip into his love life like Joe does, right?
I do that off air.
Oh, that's
off air. Joe dives right into it.
Between him and Perk, they could do a lovelorn stories for days and days.
Well, we all have some in common. We've been a little dysfunctional in relationships, so it's okay.
And the point that needs to be mentioned here, in your defense, is Omar is not shy about putting it out there.
Well, Perk's no different. Perk's he's an open book, man.
Okay, so
anyway, let's get back to I don't know where we were, but meandering your way through.
Yeah, so we started the podcast and it did very well, and then eventually grew an audience, and I'm still like not technically savvy in the least. Your setup right now looks to me like, oh, that's very cool. I wonder how you did that. I do it from my laptop. Use like one of those. Things. I actually do have a microphone that I could use. I don't use it because to me it's cumbersome and it looks weird, and the sound's okay without it. And what I say to separate myself, not separate myself, but to make it clear what I provide is. And sometimes it doesn't play well. I'm not a Dolphins fan. Yeah. No offense. I've covered this team now on a regular basis.
Are you a fan of somebody else?
No.
Oh, yeah. Okay, well, that's good.
Well, I'm a fan of Montreal Expos, but they no longer exist.
You live down here. I hear that stuff about somebody says if they don't hear what they want, you're a hater, and if you say something that you like, you kiss their ass no matter what.
Yeah, but
I get
you
that.
have to.
I get that.
Your job.
But from
don't want to lose access.
Well, this kind of comes from again where you started. You couldn't be a fan. You want to be. You want to be.
Correct.
You want to be able to say, hey, this guy's playing bad. This guy's playing good. This that. This coach did this. And so those people that kind of gravitate to like a lot of the podcasts where they're just so profound with their love of the Dolphins. Anything that is said to opposite of what they're saying is blasphemy.
And then you have those who like break down film, and which is good, and some of them are very knowledgeable and all that, but it's like, if you show me 5 plays from a game and you're going to make some sort of like determination of what that player is, really?
You better be careful breaking down because nobody knows what assignments are.
That's the other part of it.
That's so. I remember when Adam Gase had a meeting. He brought in and he put a clip there.
Yes, he did.
And I forget who it was, and he said, and the guy had said, oh, this is what happened. And he went through that play. Now this happened here, this happened here, but this is where it started.
Yep.
Started back there. It didn't start out here. This guy was the guy that got caught in the jackpot because this guy didn't do it. And so, and look, those guys, to me, that's the one thing about when they can go and watch a game, and you can see it from the sideline or the end zone or whatever. And you know, it's funny. It seems to me like every year someone comes up with some new terminology.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, setting the edge, you know, or you know, the too deep. Oh, this or that. Oh my God! It's like
the one I love. Sorry, I'm sorry. The one I love is the quarterback manipulating the defense with his. I'm sorry, it's called looking off a receiver.
Right.
I mean,
so arm talent, eye talent, ear talent. Right.
There is a lot of new. There's a lot of new stuff.
But you know what? It's you know, when I see it, they're guys that have learned football from the internet.
Yep.
And they want to, and so they want to throw terminology out there. Oh, this guy's climbing the edge to get there. You know what?
I like the number gap.
Right.
5. He's on the 5, the 3.
Yeah. I like the 3 gap, the 1 gap. You know, every team has different numbers, but you know, I don't know.
See, I try to keep it simple because I'm very simple.
Well, but it is, you know what? It's not a complicated game. It's a complicated.
Say that to my wife.
It's a complicated game, but they make it. Some of these broadcasters make it way too complicated. You know, I don't know. Maybe
some podcasters do that.
Well, you want to sound like, in fairness to them, they're saying
sure,
some of this
correct.
stuff. They want to feel like they're on the end, and they're using the terminology they hear out here from a coach.
And that's there are some people who like that. That's their niche. Like I said, my niche is basically I'm going to be honest.
Yeah.
And then even then I get like, you're just saying that to please the team. You're an ass kisser for the team because you want to maintain your access. Or I'm going to get people, or you're just always negative, always looking for bad things.
So as long as you've been you're not a Dolphin fan. You're only a Montreal fan. But is football your favorite sport, or I know you're a tennis guy. So what is your?
Apparently, I have a good serve, according to him.
Well, we'll get to that in a little bit. We'll get to that in a little bit.
Okay.
We'll get to that in a little bit.
Here's the answer. To watch on television, there's not a close second. It's football.
To the NFL,
To watch live, especially if you can get tickets for close, there's not a close second. It's hockey.
I see that. I agree with that.
To play my sport growing up, and the sport at which I was best was easily hockey.
Yeah.
Right now, at my advanced stage, tennis is.
And so you grew up in Canada.
I did.
And so you have a neighborhood where I remember, because I was in my freshman year, I went to school in Minnesota.
Okay.
And Minnesota, you know, it's wide open, not a lot of, you know, a lot of space, and like every 4 houses, they would dig a little trench in their backyard. When it got cold, they'd fill it up with, and everyone had everyone had their own hockey rink in their back. Like 4 houses had a hockey rink in their backyard.
Yep.
And it was all over the place.
All your buddies everybody had their own?
No, there might have been a couple, but then walking distance, we had like the municipal rink. Wow. They would even put boards, and then I sit down. You had a nice surface to play. It was very nice.
Wow. Well, I'll tell you what. I don't think you're a hater. I just want to let you know that. I don't think you're a hater, but I got to tell you, his tennis game.
Well, here we go. Okay.
The only thing I have going, because I want to get this out of the way.
Go ahead.
This is the part that nobody gives a shit about, but we do. So I just want to say.
No, I like it, because you know what? I know Joe, and I played all kinds. I played ping pong against Joe. I played tennis. I know what Joe is.
Okay.
Right? And you go ahead, and I'll get to that. After you have your say.
I have it. I just like him when he's out of shape or just coming back after he's been out a few. I got a better shot. And he gets a little tired, and when he's hurting a little bit, then you start that drop shot.
Well, Here's let me give this is the last time I played tennis. First of all, he grips up a little high on that neck of the.
He does.
His little high on the.
I didn't realize that.
And you'll hit a shot that's out, and he goes, "Oh, geez, that was really close, man. You just missed it by a little bit, right?"
Right. That's the fuck with you.
I've never encountered that actually.
I don't do that, right?
And look, he hits everything back.
He does.
He's a bore. He's a wall.
He does.
So he's just hitting back, and then all of a sudden he drops that little dink shot.
Oh yeah.
And you race up there and over your head.
This sounds great for when it went out every 10 sets.
And he knows right how to hit it about that far from the end line, right? It's just.
Yeah, listen. We have fun.
We do have fun.
And the same thing with him playing golf, you know. Oh, geez.
I did used to do that.
You hit a ball like, I don't know, geez, you just missed it by a quarter of an inch, you know. You motherfucker. You.
Throwing clubs.
I know some people, I won't mention names, who have played with Joe in tennis and kind of like accuse him of gamesmanship.
No, they do. They all do. Like, it's
but
incredible.
That's you. We do that playing ping pong.
I don't sit down on the bench, so they accuse me of, like, purposely
trying to quicken the pace.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Well.
There are a couple guys that do that. I said, look at my back. I just can't sit, but take all the time.
Sure, my back. that's a good one.
But I do. I will say a comment, but it's not an obvious one. I'll just say, man, you're getting close to those. I mean, that was the right play. It hit
See, that's it. Yeah. That's it, right?
That's the right play.
That's exactly it, right there.
I don't recall him doing that with me, actually.
Well, maybe you don't.
I don't feel special. I don't feel special.
Yeah,
I'm down for
not always. Don't make it sound like it's spanking.
You know, like Ira Winderman or.
I've never played Ira.
People he plays.
I've never played Ira.
Who else you usually play?
I read questions every call.
Oh, you said one of those? Oh, no.
We got a couple of those guys. Everyone.
Well, and hey, it's
man.
great having you, man.
Really appreciate it, bud. Thank you.
Enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's been nice.
Alan's been around for a long time.
Man.
This is not a guy that's new to the organization. He's been around a long time.
So let me talk about this before we go. If you're looking at the hierarchy of people that you've worked with from a newspaper standpoint, the best, you know, I mean, who do you know, that if you had I want to say a Mount Rushmore, but if you had a group of writers that really impressed you, that you kind of, not that you want to, you know, you want to, but you took tips from them and you say, hey, if I can be more like this is how I'd like to be. There
are two guys who stand out, and the first one was at the Miami News, the late Leo Suarez.
Yep.
He was on the beat.
Yeah.
He's the one I learned the most. And then maybe some finer points. I was a lot more into my career back then, but still early, but a little bit more. Andy Cohen, who was my longtime boss with Dolphin Digest, who had covered the Dolphins for the.
Were you around when Eddie Playstead was out? Was out?
No.
Okay.
No. No.
Don't remember Eddie?
I
know the name.
That story about poor Eddie getting
but I
in the shower. That's terrible.
You imagine the
who was it who did that?
Well, so Kuchenberg and Langer threw him in the shower after we played. He wrote an article. We went up to St. Louis to play a Thursday night Thanksgiving Day game. He goes, I don't know why the Dolphins are going up there. There's just going to be turkey dinner for the St. Louis Cardinals.
55-14.
Right? So that was a big blow, and we blew him out. But he comes in, and Cooch said, hey, no one talks at Playstead. And so some guys talking to Eddie Playstead. Cooch and Langer are going to pick him up, literally picked him up out of the ground, took him in the shower, and Coach Shule, he just used to stand against the wall to do his press. Yeah. So he's standing by the shower, and he goes, hey, where's he going with that guy, you know? They took him in the shower, turned the shower on him, wouldn't let him up, and that was it. That was the story of Eddie Playstead.
Jesus, then
and I tell you, to Eddie Playstead's credit, never put it out, never did anything, you know?
Man, that's weak, though. Jesus.
Well, you know.
I mean, so basically from Cooch's standpoint.
Coach was all jacked up on after the game. I'm not gonna.
You just leave it at that.
We'll let that
go. So, anyway, great. Hey, it's great having you. Thanks for taking the time with us.
Enjoyed it,
and
fellas.
Hey, Joe, we got to talk about our new sponsor, huh? Ed Morse Sawgrass Superstore Automall out in Sunrise.
Where do you want to start? You want to start the Chevy side of it?
I'm a Caddy guy. You know, I just bought a new Cadillac Lyriq, so you know this is my third Cadillac I bought from them over the years. I bought 2 Suburbans from them too. And not Suburbans, I bought 2 Tahoes from them.
I'm a couple of Tahoes into
You're
this
about 5 Tahoes into it.
I am,
right?
and my daughter just got a Buick over there, switched from Chevy and saw the Buick and fell in love.
Buick, GMC, Cadillac, sales, service. The sales staff is great. The service staff is great. It's just a play. You got to go and see it, and I recommend it. Joe recommends it, and we have a lot of guys, a lot of our friends that do a lot of shopping over at Ed Morse Sawgrass Auto Mall.
Easy to get to, right off Sunrise there. You can't.
That's right. All right. That's going to do it for today. We'll see you next time.